Okay, I'm starting to cook. 8 winning days in the last 11. Don't think I haven't noticed. No, in all seriousness, what a result yesterday. There were a couple of games that I was feeling a little bit shaky about, but they ultimately ended up coming true for us to give us another winning day. Before I go any further, though, I got to admit something. I got to confess something. This is the 5th video that I've recorded today. I say today, it's 12:30 a.m. on Wednesday, but I'm counting it as Tuesday. We had the Pick 5 Win 5 recorded at like 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Then I recorded 3 NFL game previews for week 1, which will be coming out very soon to get you guys as prepared as possible for all of your betting insights and analysis in week 1. And then obviously we've got this video. So I'm a little bit fried right now, and we're just going to see how this thing goes. You can probably tell we're going a little loosey-goosey at this point. I've still got to go on TV with the Greg Peterson experience in about an hour and a half from now. By the way, Greg Peterson experience, yes, that's the same Greg Peterson who was on the channel previously. So if you did enjoy his appearance, check me out on VSiN. I go on every Tuesday night, and just check out Greg's channel to begin with. The guy is absolutely awesome. Did I say his channel? I meant his show. This is what I'm talking about with being scatterbrained. You know why you're here. It's not to hear me ramble. It is for the MLB betting picks, and it is for Pick 5, Win 5. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in between. Welcome back to my daily betting show, where it is my job to give you my 5 favorite plays in the sports betting world. We are coming off of a 3-2 day. I know I was gassing it. I was hyping it up in the intro. Not like it was a 4-1 or a 5-0, but you know what? 3-2, that is modest, but it is profit. And if we go 3-2, 5 days out of the week, then we will make steady profit. We will continue to build that bankroll, and I will never, ever complain about that. Now, I want to start by addressing some of those picks. I said that the line of 7 was just too low for the Brewers-Cubs game, and then it dropped to 6.5 after we finished recording. I was talking to people in the comments. I said, there's no way you go under. You got to go over here. That game ended 1-0. So, yeah, if the line was 1.5, you could have still gone under and you would have made money. I wonder what the odds on a plus 1.5. Can you even set an alternate total that low? I genuinely want to know. Like, what? It's got to be over plus 1,000. But I was watching that game, right? And Justin Steele, I said that it was time for him to have a bad day. It looked like I was right. He gave up, I think, 4 hits in a walk in the first inning. And in this game, we had 15 hits and 3 total walks, and there was only 1 run. It was just weird, but, you know, it is what it is. That's sports betting. There's absolutely no locks. Just like the Seattle Mariners apparently aren't a lock against the Oakland Athletics. They lose that game 3-1. At least I'm assuming they lost. It's the 9th inning, so forgive me if they did win that game. It's the 9th inning with 1 out right now, and it is 3-1. I'm just assuming they lost 3-1. Who would have guessed that? I mean, the Mariners had covered in 22 of their last 30. They'd won like 12 of the last 13 or 12 of the last 14. And then they lose 3-1 to the Athletics with Ken Waldichuk on the mound. Who can predict that? But again, that is sports betting in a nutshell. And one of the games we won, I'm not going to call it lucky, but the Baltimore Orioles, they won 8-1, or no, it wasn't 8-1. I don't know what the score was. Again, mental fatigue is setting in, but they won by a lot, and it was not that close. They were actually losing to the White Sox well into that game. Anthony Santander hits a bases loaded 3 RBI double, and that really drives that thing over. But bottom line, we go 3-2, and we're moving on into Wednesday's picks. Now, these picks were pretty tough to make. I got to admit, there were a lot of tough matchups. Some of the games I wanted to bet, I just wasn't able to pull the trigger. I was going to include the Mets money line today. I was super excited about that, but Buck Showalter just announced right before I started recording that Kodai Senga is getting an extra day of rest. He will not be starting in this one, so I was unable to pick them for pretty obvious reasons. Senga is really the shining light in the Big Apple right now, the Big Apple for the Mets fans. And so we had to go with someone else, but I do still have my 5 favorite picks right here. I'm about to give them to you, but before I do, smash that subscribe button. Guys, when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm giving away $100 to one random subscriber. We are so close to the 900 subscriber milestone, so my goal for this video is to get us over 900. If you want to help me out, then please smash that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get us all the way to the 1,000 and you want to see if you have a chance to win that $100, be my guest. Let's make this thing go through the absolute roof. Now, again, these are tough picks, but we are going to start it out with the Brewers money line versus the Chicago Cubs. Now, that game that ended 1-0 yesterday, that was in favor of the Cubs, but the Brewers won the first game in the series 6-2. So this is the decider. On the mound in this one for the Brew Crew will be Brandon Woodruff. He is 3-1 with a 2.65 ERA and a .88 WHIP. Wow, that's impressive. Going against Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs, who is 5-7 with a 3.80 ERA and a 1.14 WHIP. Now, Hendricks has been having himself a very good season, but he does have a 5 flat ERA this month. He's also got a 4.84 at home. He's weirdly better on the road than he is in his home stadium. Woodruff hasn't thrown a ton of innings this year. I think the count is still under 40, and he's got a 3.57 ERA this month, but he does have a 3.14 in his career against the Cubs. Had a lot of matchups with them, and more times than not, he has come out on top. These teams are pretty even in scoring over the last 2 weeks and over the last month or so. Like I said, the series is split 1-1. The reason that I'm going with the Brewers here is Brandon Woodruff is a better pitcher than Kyle Hendricks is. He's also been playing better as of late. The bullpens, they're pretty similar. Both of them are definitely capable. And the offenses, while they have had similar scoring outputs, the Brewers were just on a 9-game win streak until they lost yesterday. I think that if you're going to take the Brewers, this is arguably the best time of the season to do it. They're really seeing the ball well. They've got a lot of momentum. Brandon Woodruff, probably the best player on the roster. You can certainly make the argument. There are a lot of reasons to say that this will be a close game, but if you look at the fine margins, I think the Brewers have the advantage. So we are going to take Brewers money line for the first pick of the show. My second pick, and this was one that I debated about long and hard. Normally, I'll give you guys some insight here. Normally, it takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to come up with my picks and go over all my notes, make sure that I get them down, and obviously make sure they make sense. As I'm taking down notes, if the pick doesn't work, then I will delete it and I'll go back to the drawing board. I probably spent well over an hour and a half, and a good 30 minutes was looking at this matchup because it's just tricky. But I'm going with the Pittsburgh Pirates money line versus the Kansas City Royals. Okay, guys, this is Grant in the post-edit. Yes, maybe this is laziness, maybe this is efficiency, whatever you want to call it, I'm here talking to you. On the screen right here, I was supposed to be telling you about how Mitch Keller just threw an 8-inning shutout. Meanwhile, Brady Singer, although he has better numbers, has given up 4 earned runs in his last 2 games, and Keller was going to be the shining light, and the Pirates are going to win, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? It seems like half the teams in the league have made pitching changes. Now, Angel Zerpa is going to be starting for the Royals. He's got a 7.27 ERA in 7 games this season. He's just not very good at baseball, unfortunately. He is a baseball player, so you'd think he would be better at it. Meanwhile, Andre Jackson's getting the start for the Pirates. He has been all right in 5 games since coming over from the Dodgers. He's got a 3.32 ERA. Oh, look, here's some Keller highlights. How fitting that would have been. Now, Jackson wasn't that good with the Dodgers, but you know what? No more than 3 earned runs in his 5 games with the Pirates. We like him to get a win. When you're going on the road to the Kansas City Royals, there's not much of a home field advantage there. I mean, I would say the Royals are worse at home than they are on the road, but the Royals are just worse, period. Yes, they did have an offensive hot streak. For a long time, they had the highest batting average in the American League post All-Star break. They very well could still have that, but they have been starting to slow down quite a lot. They've only scored 5 runs in their last 3 games. They are averaging just 3.1 over their last 10 outings, and they have lost 12 of their last 14. Meanwhile, the Pirates are scoring a modest 4.5 runs per game, but you know what? That's a 1.5 more than the Royals are during that same stretch. The Pirates are also up 2-0 in this series by a combined score of 11-3. The Pirates also have the advantage coming out of the bullpen. Not saying their bullpen's great. It's just about league average. It's a couple spots under, but the Royals is 4th worst over the last month as far as ERA goes. It's time for the Royals to remember who they are. They are the worst team in the league. They're even worse than the Oakland Athletics. They've lost 12 of their last 14. They are going back into that slump, which isn't really a slump. It's just homeostatic for them. It is where they belong. It's with a bunch of losses in the column. So Pittsburgh Pirates money line, that is my second pick here. My third pick. The odds makers need to stop disrespecting the Washington Nationals. Nationals plus 1.5 versus the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm all over this pick, and I was so close to taking them on the money line yesterday. The money line and the plus 1.5 were both super appealing to me yesterday. The only reason that I didn't go with it is Jose Berrios. I had it in the back of my mind. He can throw 7 shutout innings, and I don't know how the Nationals respond to that. But the Nationals ultimately do end up winning that game. I wasn't surprised by it. Patrick Corbin's on the mound here. He is 9-11 with a 4.70 ERA and a 1.47 WHIP, going against Chris Bassett of the Blue Jays, who is 12-7 with a 4 flat ERA and a 1.23 WHIP. Now, Corbin is an awful pitcher. He's not good, but this is by far his best stretch of the season. He's got a 2.70 ERA across 4 starts this month. Meanwhile, Bassett's got an ERA of 4.01 this month, and he gave up 4 earned runs in 2 of his last 3 starts. So not exactly the best run of form. The Nationals are 5 spots ahead of the Blue Jays in scoring over the last 30 days. Now, that's not a ton of runs when you break it down, but if you stop for a moment and you consider the fact that, first of all, the Nationals are being spotted a run and a half. So it doesn't matter that they're not outscoring the Blue Jays by a lot. They're getting an extra run and a half to work with, and they're getting 9 innings of guaranteed offense. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays are only getting 8. So they're being spotted they're being spotted a run and a half. They're getting at least one extra. Well, no, I shouldn't say at least. There's a chance they get an extra inning of offense more than the Blue Jays do, and they've been outscoring the Blue Jays, period, recently. That's a lot of indicators that say you should go with the Nationals here. By the way, the Nationals money line value of plus 200, if you're looking to make a long shot parlay or something like that, put that in there because plus 200 is so disrespectful. This should be closer to probably like 160, 170 maybe with Corbin on the mound. I get it. He's not good, but plus 200 is just not fair. The Nationals, since the All-Star break, they're 26-17. That's the record of a good team. You know, I know it's the Nationals. They don't have a lot of name brand value, but that's the record of a good team. They've also covered in 11 of their last 14. 11 of their last 14 they have covered. They've been consistently making money for bettors. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays have only covered in 6 of their last 19. That means they're covering less than once every 3 games. If you want to break it down to its simplest form, they already covered once in this series. The law of averages, which doesn't actually exist, but the law of averages would say, you know, they're not going to cover again this series. Again, that's not real. You know, the law of averages is that there is no law of averages. But my point being, the Nationals, as of late, are much more likely to cover and to make money for bettors than the Blue Jays are. So I'm not going to disrespect them, especially when they're on a hot streak at the plate. We are taking Nationals plus 1.5 for the 3rd pick of the show. My 4th pick, I'm going Philadelphia Phillies minus 1.5 versus the LA Angels. Reed Detmer's on the bump for the Angels here. He is 3-10 with a 5.03 ERA and a 1.38 WHIP, going against Christopher Sanchez, who is 2-3 with a 3.33 ERA and a 1.01 WHIP. Now, Detmers has an 8.68 ERA this month. No, you did not mishear me. And 8.68 ERA. Sanchez, meanwhile, has a 4.70 this month, which is much worse than his 3.33 for the year. But he has given up 2 earned runs or fewer in 6 of his last 7 starts. Really just one bad outing that is weighing his numbers down. The Phillies have won and covered in both games of this series. The Angels are very clearly punting on their season hopes. I mean, they just released a slew of guys, including 2 starters, purely to try to save some money against the salary cap. Sure, maybe it's going to help their flexibility in the future. Not like they're going to be any good anytime soon because they botched the trade deadline so badly, but they're already worried about the future. And they weren't a good team to begin with. They are only inevitably going to get worse. I feel so bad for Shohei Ohtani. I want him to leave that franchise as fast as he can. The Phillies are 6th in bullpen ERA over the last month. The Angels are 3rd worst. The Phillies are also 2nd in scoring, also over the last month. The Angels are 24th. Everything's telling us to go Phillies here. We're not going to disrespect those facts. We're going to go Phillies minus 1.5, which brings us to the 5th and final pick. And it's right around the corner. But before I give it to you guys, one final reminder, smash that subscribe button. Looking to get at least to 900 on this video. If we hit 1,000, then you know what? Overnight, I will be giving away $100 to one random subscriber. So do me a favor, join the community. We have got so much betting content on the way with the NFL season approaching. I promise it will be worth your time. My 5th and final pick here. Oh, excuse the hesitation. I'm thinking, do I really want to make a live substitution right now? I'll tell you what I have written down. I have the San Francisco Giants minus 1.5 for plus 130 versus the Cincinnati Reds. And I will tell you my reasoning. Logan Webb going against Hunter Green. Hunter Green has a 17.55 ERA in 2 starts this month. The Giants have broken out of their cold streak at the plate lately. They're hitting 250 over the last 2 weeks. The Reds are down at 207. But you know what? We're doing it. We're making a live switch. We are going Los Angeles Dodgers minus 1.5 versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, which means that I've got to do this live on the fly. So let me pull up some numbers and talk to you about why. Let me first tell you why I'm not confident enough in that last pick I gave you, despite the offensive numbers swinging in the way of the Giants and Logan Webb being much better than Hunter Green. Green was not that bad. I mean, it's impossible to be 17 ERA bad, but he's not been that bad. He had a 3 ERA last month. He's also much better on the road than he is at home in this game's being played in San Francisco. Also, the fact it is in San Francisco, the Giants might only get 8 innings of offense, even if they're better than they were before. That's still not a lot of time. These teams have scored exactly 45 runs apiece over the last 10 games. I don't think the margin is wide enough. I don't like the money line value for the Giants, but I also don't know if they can cover the 1.5. We're going Dodgers minus 1.5. Like I said, enough of me screwing around here. Okay, forgive me for that quick interruption. I was just double checking to make sure the starting pitchers are still the same. It is not confirmed, but it is still projected to be Brandon Pfaadt for the Diamondbacks and Lance Lynn for the Dodgers. Again, this is not 100% confirmed, and this is a live substitution on the air. So please go out, check your sports books, check your ESPN app, whatever you use. Make sure these are the pitchers. I will be putting it in the pinned comments if I do have an update to my pick. So be on the lookout for that just in case. Let's talk about these dudes. Now, Lance Lynn was having a horrendous year until he went to the Dodgers, and they all worked their magic on him just like they do everybody. In 5 starts with his new team, he has a 2.03 ERA. He is 4-0 in those, and he is, let me see, the team is 5-0 straight up, and they are 4-1 against the spread. I'm not going to be able to calculate the whip in my head fast enough, but you know what? With a 2 flat ERA, we're just going to assume it's low. Brandon Pfaadt, meanwhile, is 1-6 with a 5.91 ERA. He is having a decent month, a 3.03 ERA in the month of August. Actually, I would say it's a very good month, but I will say that his one bad start was unsurprisingly against the Dodgers. Gave up 4 earned runs, 6 hits, and 2 walks in 4.2 innings. The main reason I'm going with the Dodgers here is, yes, they are at home. They're not going to get the guaranteed offense in the 9th inning, but look, they have been scoring so much lately. Look at their recent game log: 9 runs, 7 runs, 7 runs, 5 runs, 7 runs, 9 runs, 6 runs. They've been crushing the ball as of late. I mean, their scoring numbers are down at home compared to away, but a lot of that is because they don't play in the 9th inning. Their slugging percentage, their OBP, their OPS, it's way up there. I like the Dodgers a lot. They've also climbed in the bullpen rankings. Again, I'm doing this on the fly, so give me 1 second just to get my numbers up here. But okay, over the last 30 days, the Dodgers have the best bullpen ERA in the entire league at 2.51. The Diamondbacks are down at 24th with a 5.20. And if we're going to look at the last 30 days and talk about how well these teams have been scoring the ball, well, I mean, the Dodgers, they are right there at the top with most teams. They are not most teams, separating themselves from most teams. That's what I'm trying to say. They are 4th in scoring over the last 30 days. The Diamondbacks are 20th. Yes, I know this is an on-air substitution, but trust me, it's been bugging me. It's been in the back of my head for the past couple of hours, and you know what? I'm feeling confident in it. Dodgers minus 1.5. That is the 5th and final pick. Let us do the final rundown here. We are going to start it off with my notes that have completely disappeared. And here we go. We're starting it off with Brewers money line versus the Cubs. This is one wild episode of the show. Then we go Pirates money line versus the Royals, Nationals plus 1.5 versus the Blue Jays, Phillies minus 1.5 versus the Angels, and Dodgers minus 1.5 versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. Guys, if you made it this far, then come on. You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. I'm coming out with betting content every single day. 8 wins in the last 11. Not guaranteeing anything today. This was a very tough schedule. Nothing in sports betting is a guarantee, but we've had the hot hand, and this is a good opportunity to test ourselves. Like the video if you did enjoy. Comment, let me know what your favorite plays of the day are. And until next time, I'll see you all very soon. Have a great day.